Yes, Nick. Well, it is sort of a semantic thing, but you overplay that it's just semantics, and there's a couple issues. First of all, um, I accept this idea of the representations in the brain, but as a materialist, you have a unifying principle. You know the brain itself is material, and representations, as you pointed out in this video, do exist materially. So we're really talking about what our representations in our mind correspond to in the real world. And you say the mug is real. No, no, not by the definition you just gave. What's real is a bunch of atoms. The fact that you call it a mug and you think it's a thing to put fluids in and so on and so forth, that's a part of your representation of that object. You apply meaning and purpose to the object with that concept mug. So why does the mug get to be real? Because it corresponds to something so tangible. Well, pain corresponds to damage in the body. Now, you can have a phantom pain, but you can also have an image of a mug in your head and there's no real mug there. So, we say the pain is not a phantom pain, but a real pain when there's actual damage to the body. Your brain is detecting damage in the same way that your eyes are detecting light. So, when we're talking about mental functions, uh, you don't want to say the thing doesn't exist, pain doesn't exist. That's what you said. You didn't just say the pain isn't real. But even if you'd said that pain was real, we still have this issue of, well, uh, pain's obviously different than damage analytically. But the representation of a mug in our mind is also different from its existence as a thing that's really just a system of molecules. It's just not as clear that it's separate, but it is. It's just as much separate, and so I don't think it's just a matter of words. Now I've just watched this video and I haven't seen the subsequent one. I just I saw the beginning of it. So maybe you say something in there that would affect this. But that's my answer to this. And in what terms? Um, I really don't know why, as a materialist, you want to go around talking about which things are unreal. I think as a materialist, we unify. Uh, Anything that exists in some material form. Imaginary things exist as material configurations in the brain, which representationally uh, create these things. They still exist, and as materialists, we have to accept that. The dualists didn't have to accept that. See, they could say the ideas were going on in this pure world, and the ideas were not real unless they correspond to the real world. We don't have that option. We have only the real world. So the ideas, everything's all happening in the real world. So that's why we have to change the question. And when we do reduction, we have to change the question from is something real to a more detailed question of how does it correspond to events in the real world. Pain does correspond to events in the real world and is just as solid, more so, I think, than your concept of a mug. Okay? So, cheers.